You ever walked into a smoke shop or maybe you're browsing online and you see something that looks and smells exactly like cannabis, but it's being sold completely legally, even in places where marijuana is a big no-no? Well, it's all because of something called THCA, and honestly, it's causing a ton of confusion. So in this explainer, we're going to break down what's really going on with this so-called loophole.
And this gets us right to the heart of the matter, what our source material calls a confusing legal high. You've got this product that seems to promise the exact experience people associate with traditional cannabis, but it's just sitting there on a shelf, right next to the CBD oils and everything else. So how on earth is that possible?
And yeah, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, how is it not a duck? If this stuff seems identical to what people buy in regulated dispensaries, how can it be sold so freely? Is it some kind of clever legal trick? Or is there something else going on here? We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so to make this real, let's look at a place like Texas. The laws there are super strict about Delta-9 THC. That's the main compound in marijuana that gets you high. But, and this is the crazy part, you can legally buy products that are absolutely packed with THCA. This is the whole loophole right here, and it all comes down to the difference between those two little acronyms.
So what is the difference, really? Well, the source we're digging into today has a great analogy that helps make sense of it all. It's about thinking of them as two completely different categories of the same thing.
The way the source puts it is really smart. Think of THCA as being like wine or beer, and then you have Delta-9 THC, which is like liquor or whiskey. See? They might come from the same basic stuff, like grapes or grains, but everybody gets that they are fundamentally different things, right? They're regulated differently, treated differently. It's not that one is just a weaker version of the other. They are in totally separate categories.
And the source material is really passionate about this. I'm going to quote it directly. So many people seem to think that the THC that is legal is the same as the weed that can be bought at dispensaries. They are simply not. So this isn't just some small technical detail. No way. It's a huge distinction that gets totally lost in all the hype and marketing.
Okay, so let's try another analogy. This one gets us a little closer to the actual science of what's happening here. If the first one was about category, this next one is all about transformation. All right, so here's the science lesson in a nutshell. THCA, that's tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, which is a total mouthful, is what's naturally in the cannabis plant before you do anything to it, before you heat it up. And the most important thing to get here is that in this raw form, it's non-psychoactive. You could literally chew on a raw cannabis bud all day, and you would not feel that classic high.
And this right here shows you the whole magic trick. The raw plant, the one that's full of THCA, is kind of like an unripened fruit. It has all the potential, but it's just not there yet. But then you add heat, from a lighter, a vape, or even just by cooking with it, and this chemical process called decarboxylation kicks in. And that heat is what turns the non-psychoactive THCA into the psychoactive Delta-9 THC. It's like the fruit finally becoming ripe and ready to eat.
So now that we've got the science down, you can probably see where this is going, right? We can see exactly how this legal loophole works. It's not about what the plant could become, it's all about what it is at the moment it's tested.
And here it is. This is the key to the whole operation. Federal law says legal hemp is any cannabis plant with less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC. So you can have a plant that is loaded, packed with non-psychoactive THCA, but as long as it has almost no actual Delta-9 THC, it passes the test, no problem. The law is only looking for the ripened fruit, so these companies can legally sell the unripened fruit and just call it hemp.
And this brings us back to the people, to the enthusiasts. For anyone who really appreciates a fully developed, mature cannabis plant, this whole loophole situation can be, well, pretty frustrating. Our source describes it as a step down, basically a way of selling immature plants while marketing them as if they're the real deal.
Okay, so let's pull all this together and talk about the bottom line. What does all of this actually mean for you, the consumer? Why does this little chemical difference matter so much?
So here's what you really need to take away from all this. First, THCA is the non-psychoactive parent of THC. Second, you have to add heat to wake it up and turn it into the THC that people are looking for. Third, that little chemical quirk is the entire reason this legal loophole exists, allowing these products to be sold as hemp. And that leads to the biggest point for you. When you buy a THCA product, you aren't actually buying THC. You're buying the potential to make it yourself, with the flick of a lighter.
So it leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? Is this whole thing just a clever legal workaround? Could this be a strange new chapter for cannabis access in America? Or is it really just a whole lot of smoke and mirrors that ends up benefiting the sellers way more than the buyers? I guess that's something the market and maybe even the lawmakers will have to sort out.